So let's now prepare for meditation.
When I pray, I feel my heart goes deeper. My heart goes deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart goes deeper. My heart goes deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. And when I pray, I feel my love goes deeper. My love goes deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper. My love goes deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
Deep, deep, deep breath in now, as deep as you can, and hold it for just a moment. And then exhale, exhale, and begin to relax. Begin to let go. Begin to settle in this morning for right here, right now. This is your time. This present moment. This is your time to go deeper into my God, into your God, into our God, into the one God, right here, right now. Beginning to focus on the breath, the breathing in, the breathing out, the ever present, ever rhythmic, ever happening, ever right here, right now breath. Focusing on the breathing in and out, and settling into your seat, planting your feet on the floor if you're comfortable, and allowing the hands to find a comfortable, relaxing position. And I invite you to take in another deep breath and hold it for just a moment. And as you exhale, allow the belly to drop. Allow the belly to drop. Allow that core of your body that holds you upright that's so busy keeping you moving, that's so busy helping you take action. Just allow it to relax during this time. And as that belly relaxes, you begin to feel more relaxed all over your body. And as you feel more relaxed, the breath slows a bit, and the rhythmic breath, the breathing in, the breathing out, calls us to this time of meditation. The breath in, the breath out, the relaxing of the belly, and as we move forward, the jaw begins to drop and relax. The shoulders drop down. Breathing in and breathing out, I begin to settle into the knowing that in the midst of this human experience, I am a divine being, a divine being, a divine being living in the heart of God. I am living in the heart of God. And I invite you to join me there, to claim your divinity, to claim your space in the midst of the heart of God. Breathing in and out, settling into that place, settling into our divinity. Peace flows through us. Peace begins flowing from the tip of our toes. I feel it. I feel Mother Earth drifting her peace from the heart of God up into my toes, along the base of my feet, up into my legs. And my legs begin to relax. My legs settle in, up around the calves and around the knees. I let go of any tension or stress, anything that might be bothering me, or a bit of pain or tightness in my legs. I let that go now. I breathe into it. I relax into the fact that I am a spiritual being. As my legs relax and peace flows through me, peace flows up through my hips into my belly. And that belly relaxes even more. I let go of any stress or tension in the belly. I know that all is well, for I am a child of God, perfect in every way, exactly as I am right now, a perfect child of God, living in the heart of God. Peace flows upward. Peace flows upward around the chest, around the thorax. Peace flows through the diaphragm and up into the lungs. And I affirm that in the midst of my lungs, in the midst of my breathing, all is well. I am whole, 100% whole, no matter what the situation. Peace flows into my shoulders. And as peace flows through my shoulders and down my arms, the shoulders drop. I let go of any tension, any stress that is in my shoulders, any stress that I'm holding in the back of my neck. The neck relaxes. The neck relaxes. And as the neck relaxes, my face begins to settle down. I allow the furrows in my brow to relax. The nose relaxes and the mouth relaxes. The top of the head lets go. And the crown chakra opens up. And in the midst of that opening, peace flows in and out. Peace flows through me now. Peace, renewal, rejuvenation, refilling. This is my time. And as the body relaxes even more, and I settle into this time of renewing, the thoughts begin to slow down. The thoughts begin to quiet. And I go deeper now. I go deeper. I go deeper into the heart of God, and I sit in the midst of all that is, in the midst of my divinity, in the midst of yours. We sit together in the silence, in the heart of God, in the heart of God, in the silence. Breathing in and breathing out. Peace. Peace, be still. Living in the heart of God, I begin my journey back to this present moment with the knowledge that I am always living in the heart of God. A breath, a drop of the shoulders, a brief second of quiet. I find my way to the heart of God whenever I want, whenever I desire. I can be there always, always. I can share that heart of God with others. Coming back to this time and place now, taking in a deep breath and holding it for just a moment, and exhaling. And as we exhale, the eyes begin to slowly open and the fingers and toes begin to move. And when I'm ready, I open my eyes and I say, thank you, God. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this peace. Thank you for the knowing that I live in the heart of God. And so it is.
One little boy in Africa, he put a face on AIDS, told his story till the world till he died. And these are the words that he said: do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place that you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place that you are. Do all you can. Oh, mother of India, helping the sick and the poor. Somebody asked, why do you do these things? She said, this is what I came here for. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place that you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Oh, this is the gift they gave to us, to share wherever you go. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Now I understand what they wanted us to know. Just do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place that you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. Do all you can.
Thank you, David Trolley. Do all you can in the time you have. Sounds like taking action, doesn't it? Do all you can in the time that you have. Take action. We've prayed, we've meditated, we've sang, we've done everything, and now it's time to take action, because without taking action, all the rest of it is to no avail in this human experience. Take action. And I'm going to take a piece of action right now and apologize for a piece of misinformation that I gave you this morning. The first song was not by Devotion. The song that we just sang was the song that's by Devotion, Be All You Can. The first song was by J.D. Martin and I can't remember her first name, and then
Jan Garrett.
J.D. and Jan Garrett. Thank you, David. I'm glad you said that. And then the next song was by Daniel Nahmod, of course. So I apologize for that. It's one of my favorite songs. And my goodness, I had Devotion at when I pioneered Central Phoenix Unity there in 2004 or something like that. They were making the circuit of Unity churches. They were well known. I have a bunch of CDs, and they did a concert at my church, and it was so delightful. What a delightful group. And also, what a delightful music director we have, David Trolley. And yes, let's give him an applause, because we are gifted by David Trolley's presence in this human experience. And tomorrow we celebrate his birthday. Happy birthday, David. Thank you for sharing this human experience with us. David Trolley. Oh, what a lucky minister I am. Yes, to have David Trolley as my music director. Oh, my goodness. I'm thrilled. And I'm thrilled to be here with you today to finish up our series on unity principles. Back to basics, unity principles. And we've talked about the first 4 principles, or the first 2 principles in the 3 practices, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I'd like to just go over a couple of housekeeping things first, if I could. And, you know, we were talking before the service started that it's fall, and it is fall. I was in Macy's before I went to lunch the other day here in Walnut Creek, and the announcements came on, and they said, and on the 3rd floor, the Christmas shop is open. Yeah, I know. Be all you can. I was like, oh my gosh. And so fall is on its way, and here we are in the midst of the fall season. And I do. I'm looking forward, and I hope you are too, to our Bible series. If this is the first you're hearing about it, we're starting a series of four Sundays on stories from the Bible. The first two Sundays, the 17th and October 1st, are going to be on the Beatitudes from the book of Matthew. And I'm really excited to let you know that on October 1st, for that talk, our African ministerial student, Anthea Bestman, will be joining us and will joining me in doing the talk. So we'll be able to welcome her and meet her. And that's just so exciting. I'm really looking forward to having her. She's just a marvel. And if you haven't looked at the e-news that arrived on Friday, you'll notice there's a section on Anthony in there. So I encourage you to read. Well, I encourage you to read the e-news every week anyway, but take a look particularly at that article. You know, everything you need to know is in the e-news, honestly. And so Antonia will be joining us on the 1st. On the 15th, we're going to talk again about one of my favorite books of the Bible and the lessons that we learned from it, the book of Jonah. And then on the 29th, we're going to talk about the book of Nehemiah. You may have heard of the Nehemiah retreats at Unity Village and probably don't know much about Nehemiah, but servant leadership was key to Nehemiah. And well, I think you're going to like hearing more about Nehemiah. And then in between those talks, we have guest speakers joining us. Russell Highland will be back, Jen Dickey will be back, and Linda McLeod will be back. So it's going to be a full fall. I'm glad I got that out. A full fall. And then, as Moon told you, we have some great classes coming up in the journaling workshop. And Elizabeth Longo's class is a fabulous class. Consider signing up for it. Linda Martello Witzett's class is starting to fill up into a nice group, and we're trying to limit to 12 or 14 most of these classes, so they're very intimate classes. And then, this is exciting too. The Earth Care team on November 12th, we're having Earth Care Sunday, and they've invited Sylvia Hayes back for the Sunday talk. And so I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to hearing what the Earth Care team is doing and what they've got planned for 2024. And then looking forward into November, my favorite event of the year, almost, the Gratitude Circle at Donna Tweltridge's home. So plan for that on November 20th. And we might as well go ahead, since the Christmas shop is open at Macy's, and mention that Advent starts on December 3rd. So we'll begin celebrating Advent on December 3rd. And on that day, daily meditations will begin, as they have every Advent and Lent. And I'll be doing them. And I'm really looking forward to the spiritual practice of daily meditations during Advent. So put it on your calendar. Plan to join us for this Advent season and for moving through the process of the birth and knowing of the Christ within each of us, of the I am that I am, of the connectedness that we all are, to celebrate that together. And we'll be doing daily meditations through the 5th of January. And then on the 6th is Epiphany. And then the chaplains will begin doing Monday through Friday meditation after that. And then you're going to like this one. On December the 10th, we'll be meeting in person and on Zoom that Sunday. So we'll be having a hybrid service that day at the, guess where, the Davis Senior Center for in person, and our usual Zoom channel, Zoom meeting room for those of you who want to join us virtually. And then after the service at the Senior Center, we'll be having our holiday party, and more about that to come. And there'll also be a chaplain meeting after the holiday party in person that day. That's going to be a full day, and almost through with my housekeeping here. We're just going to go through the end of the year. We might as well. So this year, Christmas Eve is on a Sunday. So we're not going to have a special Christmas Eve service this year. We'll celebrate Christmas Eve at our Sunday morning service, and then go on about your day, and you don't have to think about coming back to church, and neither do I. So that's what we'll be doing on Christmas Eve. And then on New Year's Eve this year, we'll have our burning bull. And I bet if you watch your mail sometime in November, you'll get everything you need for the holiday season arriving in a little package like you have for the last several years. So that's what's going on at Unity Center of Davis. And just to kind of bring us up to snuff and review last week a little bit, moving through the 5 unity principles, we started out by saying that the first principle tells us that there is one presence and one power, God. And what are traditionally known as the other 4 principles, Kelly Isola says, could actually be practices. And so we've talked about the practices of knowing that we are one in the Christ, we share that divinity with each other, and that we can almost combine God is and I am into the principle. And the next 3 are practices. The fact that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. What you think is what you get. If you hold it in your mind, if you get an image of it in your mind, you can bring it into manifestation. And then last week, we talked about prayer and meditation. And we're going to talk, I'm going to review that, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about the silence. And today, then, we move into the 5th principle, I live. And so, as Elizabeth Longo told us, the short version of the 5 principles, God is, I am, I think, I pray, and I live. In this human experience, I must take action, and I live that way, by taking action, by moving through this human experience, and by doing that, knowing that I am a divine being, and that God is, and I am, and God and I are one. So we talked about prayer and meditation last week, and just kind of, I found this prayer, this statement by James Dillard Freeman, the poet laureate of Unity, James Dillard Freeman, who wrote our prayer for protection. And I found it in a little booklet called The Keys to the Kingdom. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But James Dillard Freeman wrote this about prayer. Prayer may bring you the fulfillment of your highest hopes and fondest dreams. But whether or not it does, prayer is valuable, not for the things it may bring you, but for the fact that you are praying. Prayer may bring you the fulfillment of your highest hopes and fondest dreams, but whether it does or not, whether it brings that or not, prayer is valuable, not for the things that it may bring you, but for the fact that you are praying. Prayer is valuable, not because it alters the circumstances and conditions of your life, but because it alters you. To pray is to feel your mind calming, your body relaxing, your spirit lightening, and your heart lifting. Pray. And so we said in prayer, in affirmative prayer, and we talked about different kinds of prayer, contemplative prayer and intercessory prayer. And we said that in Unity, we believe in affirmative prayer. And we talked about the 5 movements of affirmative prayer. And the first movement was open. Open, I relax. I move into relaxation. And then the second movement is God is. I move into a time of recognition and concentration. Recognition that God is, and I concentrate on that. And the third movement, I am. I integrate the fact, it's integration and meditation, that God is and I am, and that God and I are one. And as I move into that, I can slowly move into the 4th movement, I can. Realization. I can. That knowing that God is and I am I have all the tools to do whatever it is that I'm to do in this human experience. I can. And then we move into that fifth movement and we're grateful. We give thanks. I appreciate. So the five movements of prayer, of affirmative prayer are, and of course, I lost my screen. I open, God is, I am, I can, and I appreciate. I've got to get a new mouse or else a new finger, one or the other. It just goes too fast on me. So, with that said, what we didn't talk about last week, and I want to be sure that we talk about under that practice of prayer and meditation, is meditation. We talked a little bit about that, but what about the silence? Why do we go into the silence? What is this thing called the silence? Charles Fillmore, in the compilation of his talks in the book called Talks on Truth, said this about the silence. All power has its birth in the silence. There is no exception to this rule in all the evidence of life. Here we go. This is good. Noise is the dying vibration of a spent force. All the clatter of visibility, from the harangue of the ward politician to the thunder's roar, is but evidence of exhausted power. Let me say that one more time. All power has its birth in the silence. There is no exception to this rule in all evidence of life. Noise is the dying vibration of a spent force. All the clatter of visibility, from the harangue of the ward politician to the thunder's roar, is but evidence of exhausted power. So in the silence, the truth is there. In the silence, God is there. In the silence, love is there. All that we need is there. And then everything else is exhausted because the true essence is found in the silence. Charles goes on to say, all divine ideas have their origin in the silence. Silence and stillness are the matrix out of which comes all needed good. When we enter a state of inner silence and stillness, we are connected to the source of pure power and strength. From this connection, we can receive a new infilling of both. Movement and sound are expenditures of strength and power. Such expenditure is necessary in our existence, but renewal through infilling is also necessary. So basically what Charles is saying is everything comes out of the silence. Our truth, our direction, everything that we need to know, and everything that we do comes out of the silence. And by the time we're done doing that, it exhausts us. That's all energy, and we're spent from energy. And so we need to fill up again. So we go back into the silence. So the message is that when you're feeling spent, when you're exhausted, when you don't know what to do, when you've done everything there is to do and you still need to know something else to do, go to the silence. Take a moment and breathe. Go into the silence. In the silence, God is there. In the silence, love is there. In the silence, peace is there. In the silence. So we've talked about the silence. We've talked about meditation. We've talked about knowing that God is and I am. And so we move into our fifth principle or our third practice. And it says that knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, is not enough. A person must live the truth that he or she knows. Through thoughts, words, and actions, we live in the truth we know. knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. From this little booklet, now the little booklet, The Keys to the Kingdom, and it's available still on the Unity World Headquarters website. It's a book that talks about the 5 fundamentals of truth. It's about the 5 principles. It was put together by Connie Fillmore Bassey, many, many years ago. And it's one of my favorite go-tos about the 5 principles. And in it, in the section on the 5th principle, it tells us this: merely owning, Steve Chicotto, this is for you and me, merely owning a deluxe set of bodybuilding equipment does not produce physical improvement. Gains are made only when these tools are consistently used. In the same way, comprehending the nature of God and humankind, understanding the power of the mind, and knowing how to pray will not stimulate spiritual growth unless applied to daily living. In the same way as buying all that equipment, physical equipment, and not using it, and how many of us have done that at different times in our life, when we don't gain the body that we're looking for because we haven't used it. In the same way, comprehending the nature of God and humankind, in other words, how God and humankind, how our divinity and our human experience work together, and understanding the power of the mind, the law of mind action, thoughts held in mind, and knowing how to pray will not stimulate spiritual growth unless we apply it to daily living, unless we get out there and do something, unless we take action, even if we're afraid to take action, unless we do that, unless we move past the fear, unless we do something to move forward, we're going to what? Stand still. We won't have any growth. We won't learn what we need to know for the next experience. We have to take action to continue that growth, to know how to move through this human experience, and to realize that we have all the tools that we need. We just have to keep calling on them and know that they're there, to not give up. So we have to take action. In the same booklet, there's a quote from the book of John 13:17. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. Well, if you know what I'm telling you, and I've told you that, and that I'm telling you you need to take action in order to make any sense out of any of the first 4, then you're blessed if you do them. You're blessed if you take action. Otherwise, you're not going to move forward. So I think it's interesting. Where does this verse come from in the book of John? Why, it's right around the Passover story. And in the story before this verse, or before this line, before this verse, Jesus is very aware that his time is near, that he's been betrayed, so as they call it, that Judas, one of his disciples, has given him up, told them where he is in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he knows he's about to be arrested, and he's not afraid. The Bible says, this Matthew says, he's not afraid because he knows that from God he came, from God he is, and from God he always will be. And so he gets, and they're at the Last Supper. And what does Jesus do at the Last Supper that's so remarkable, that's so outstanding, and I've been honored to do it? He gets up from the table, he takes off his outer garment, he puts a towel around his waist, and he begins to wash his disciples' feet. And he gets to Peter, and Peter says, Peter, which represents faith, said, well, what are you doing, Lord? You're washing my feet? I should be washing your feet. And Jesus says that he talks about a humble servant, and that if I can be Lord and Master, but I'm nothing if I'm not a humble servant. And he goes about washing the feet of his disciple. And he leaves a clear message that they are their humble servants and to go forth as a humble servant. And even if he's not there, bring the message of truth, bring the message of love forward without him. Now that you know this, you're blessed if you do it. Go forth, take action, put it into action. It takes inner faith and outer application of our faith to attain our goals and to reach the high point of fruition in our lives, work, and affairs. We have our portion to do, and God has God's portion. In order to do our share, we must move in the best way we can for the moment, for God is ever moving in the best way for our highest good. For God is ever moving in the best way for our highest good. The more joyously we enter into this cooperative process, the more easily, happily, and successfully we will complete each step of our journey toward greatness, to our journey toward fulfillment, to our journey toward enlightenment, to our journey toward. The fifth principle, then, is all about moving your feet. If you desire to obtain some high goal, to express some talent, or to enter some purposeful activity, set your mind and heart in it, in its direction, pray, and then move your feet accordingly. Move your feet accordingly. And do not feel that your beginning step, that first movement of the feet, needs to be one that will claim great attention. That first step, it doesn't have to be the big thing. It doesn't have to be all. It just has to be that first step. That beginning step need only be a simple way of showing God that you believe in God's kingdom and promises, that you believe in your divine inheritance of good. What did the Pearsons used to say? The best is yet to be. That the best is yet to be. The best is always coming. We think we're having the best right now, but the best is yet to be. It's our divine inheritance of good, that the best is yet to be. Prepare yourself spiritually for the right move by spending some quiet time in prayer and by talking with God concerning the desires of your heart. Pour out your hopes, your dreams, and wishes. Pour out even all your doubts and fears concerning them. Then tell God that you know of your divine design of joyous, happy, successful living. Tell God that you will prove this by acting accordingly, by taking action, that you believe in truth, that you believe that you're divine, and that you know that in this human experience you have everything you need to take the action that you need to take. I know I'm running a little late, but I've got a little story I want to tell you before we finish. Once upon a time, in a city not very far away at all, a college town, as a matter of fact, a ministry that preached the gospel of truth survived the great pandemic of the 21st century and began seeking to find the answer to who they are going forward. This ministry, they celebrated the fact that they were able to stay together and maintain a solid ministry during this crazy time. For you see, not only was there a pandemic, but an autocratic ruler had come to power in their country, and an attempted insurrection had taken place. as they sought answers to the question of their current identity, they acknowledged the presence and power of God. They celebrated the divinity and the humanness that they know they are. And thoughts began to flow through their minds about this. Who are they going to be going forward? Visions of this identity began to form in the congregation's mind. And the minister took a breath. and they spent time in prayer and meditation again to discern which thoughts and images would be a part of their creative process as these images began to take hold. They realized that they were ready to take action. They realized they were ready to take action. You see, being a ministry of truth, they knew that although they had affirmed the presence and power of God, the one source, and claimed their divinity and oneness with the universe, thoughts and images filling their process, and they prayed and meditated, they knew that without taking action, they would not move forward. So, of course, you know what little small town I'm talking about, and you know what ministry I'm talking about. I'm talking to that ministry right now. And indeed, a group of people came together yesterday in Davis, about 14 of us, and we came together just to look at who we are after this great pandemic of the 21st century. And here we are still standing. And what are we now? And what are we going forward? And so a visioning session was held, and thoughts and ideas flowed, and then they were collected, and a plan was made, a first step plan, and it was beautiful watching action being taken. And then these plans were collated, and they're going to be brought to a meeting on Wednesday, and then from that meeting, they'll come to the board. And that means that more action will need to be taken. And so I invite you to join your prayers and your thoughts and your affirmations with your ministry and with this engagement team and with your board of trustees as we move forward to take action on who we are as Unity of Davis, Unity Center of Davis, Unity of Davis, who we are. I invite you to take action in all your life. I invite you to affirm that God is, that you are, that you think, that you pray. But more than anything, I invite you to live. I invite you to take action. Thanks for being here today. Have a great week.